So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the PUP series webinar. And this morning, we're very, very lucky to have Sarah Eaton and Gengyan Tang as our presenters. And Sarah is a professor at the University of Calgary. And this morning, they will be, I'm looking for the title, and of course, there it is there. Nope. I got too many windows open. So this morning, they're going to be talking to us about the GenAI footprint in scholarly publications that reflect the complex issues of academic integrity in the post-plagiarism era. And so I will let Sarah introduce Gengyan.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today, Martine. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's my honor to also be a co-investigator on the PUP project that is directed by Martine Peters. And one of the beautiful things about the community that she's created is the opportunity for us to showcase our work. So hello, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. My name is Sarah Eaton from the University of Calgary, and today it's my pleasure to introduce to you one of our brand new PhD students at the University of Calgary, Mr. Gengyan Tang, who in his first year has already published, I think, more articles than I published in my first 3 years as an assistant professor. He was recently quoted in the magazine Nature with his work around research integrity. Today, Gengyan will be leading the webinar, and I'll come in for some of the slides. But today, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Gengyan. I turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. And let me share the screen. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning. And thank you for joining us today for this webinar. And my name is Gengyan, and I'm the PhD student at Workland School of Education at the University of Calgary. And I'm so excited to present today alongside with my supervisor, Dr. Eaton. And so, yeah. And before we start this session, and I acknowledge that the University of Calgary is situated on the traditional lands of the indigenous people of Treaty 7. Those include several First Nations and the Métis Nation of Alberta. I respect their histories and cultures, and I'm grateful to be here today. So today we are diving into a really important and timely issue in academic integrity, the GenAI footprint in scholarly publications. With AI involved so quickly, we are seeing it plays a bigger role in academic writing and publishing. But this brings up some big questions that what exactly is GenAI footprint? And how common is it? What does it mean for academic integrity? And most importantly, now that we are in the post-plagiarism era, how should we deal with the challenges in education and research? So let's unpack these questions together. And I can show you some pictures, and you can see that a GenAI footprint is a trace left behind when authors use AI-generated content in their academic work. And this is an article published from the academic journal Resource Policy. It's a very high quality journal, regarded as a high quality journal. And but we can say that this is an example that an article had the GenAI footprint. And you can see that there is a content. Please note that as an AI language model, I am able to generate specific tables or contact tests at blah blah. And yes, you can heard that. You can say it is an example that. But this is a phenomenon in research integrity and academic integrity. And in the next slide, you can see there is a GenAI footprint in a book. And you can see the first line, there is sentences that said as an AI language model, I cannot say anything in operate in any manner to subject someone to any kind of offense. This is a direct output from an AI tool, just like ChatGPT, and yet it was published as part of a book. This arouses servers questions about how AI-generated content is making its way into published materials, and whether authors, publishers, even readers are aware of it. The fact that something like this appears in a book available for purchase shows that AI-generated content isn't just a problem in research papers, but also in academic and commercial publishing. And there is another example of the GenAI footprint. And you also can see there is a footprint in the book. Now this arouses an important question that are authors and publishers actually reviewing their content before publishing it? The fact that AI disclaims like this are slipping into books and research publications suggests that some academic and commercial publishing process lack proper oversight. So yeah. So now we can look at a few examples. Let's define what we mean by a GenAI footprint. Simply put, GenAI footprints are the traces left behind when an author uses AI-generated content in their writing. These traces can be obvious, like direct AI disclaimers, or more subtle, like unnatural sentences or inconsistent argument structures. The key takeaway here is that AI-generated content isn't always easy to spot, but its presence in academic writing is becoming more and more common. So the big question is, how can we deal with it? And in the June 2023, I collaborated research with Dr. Eaton, and we conducted this research to investigate GenAI footprint in the academic publications, and to find out we can find both students and educators have been using AI tools in their academic writing. Because before that, we just regard students as the most important group that they use AI tools to do their assignments. But in our investigation, we found that the teachers, professors, they also use GenAI to conduct their research. And in some cases, they are using these tools in ways that violate academic integrity standards. This means we are not just dealing with students turning to AI for assignments, and even researchers are incorporating AI-generated content into their work. So this brings up an even bigger concern. If AI-generated text is making its way into published research, how can we maintain trust in academic scholarships? If you are interested in our article, you can use your phone to scan this QR code that you can access it. Yeah. So wait some minutes. And this paper is published in the Journal of Scholarly Publishing, and this journal is issued by University of Toronto Press. Yeah. So let us to look the result section, and you can see this table shows that the country of origin of the first authors from the papers we analyzed. You can see the publications we identified come from a variety of regions, including Egypt, India, and other many countries in Asia. Yeah. So one important thing to note here is that it isn't just a location issue. It happens globally. Researchers from different countries and likely different disciplines are integrating AI-generated content into their work. And because this research we conducted in 2023, but now I just searched in the Google Scholar, we found more and more examples in the database that the papers contain the GenAI footprints. This is a very big issue in the academic community. And let's look at who is publishing those papers with GenAI footprints. And we can say the authors include a mix of PhD researchers, assistant professors, senior teachers, and master's students. Another key finding is that many of these papers were written by a single author. This suggests that some researchers might be using AI tools to help generate content when working alone. And now we can see the purpose of using AI tools in their papers. And from the data we analyzed, the most common reasons for using AI tools like ChatGPT were first is generating ideas. This means that the researchers, they use the AI tools to help them to develop their ideas. And the second is conducting literature reviews. And the third is generating images, analyzing data, and accessing data. This tells us something important. Most researchers aren't just using AI to write papers. They are using it as a brainstorming tool. So now this raises a very big question. If AI is helping with idea generation and literature reviews, where do we draw the line between acceptable and unethical use? And the second is AI being used as a support tool, or is it shaping research in ways we haven't fully considered? This is a very critical discussion we need to have in academia moving forward. And there is another paper that was published in the Learned Publishing, and this is a recently paper they conducted research about the GenAI footprint. And it's identified even more ways AI-generated content is making its way into academic work. And you can see here are some common AI-generated phrases that have been found in research papers, just like as of my last knowledge update, I don't have access to real-time data. These sentences that gave away that the content was generated by an AI model like ChatGPT. But here's the problem. Many of these AI-generated texts are being published in academic journals without being properly reviewed or edited. It's clear that GenAI footprints are becoming more common, and we need better ways to detect and address this problem. And so we can have the conclusion how prevalent it is. Well, according to the recent data, the number of articles with GenAI footprints on Google Scholar has now reached over 1,000. And what's even more concerning is that 28 of those papers were published in top-tier journals. This ranked in the 19th percent of higher on SCOPUS. This is a database. And this isn't limited to just one field. Those AI-generated footprints have been found across a wide range of disciplines, from medicine and computer science to education management and even economics. And I am collaborating another paper with Dr. Eaton, and we just researched the paper mills and on social sciences. And we also found the education field is a very serious field in such problems. So I don't know why this happened, but this is a very big problem because the education focus on academic integrity, but there are some academic misconduct in our field, in our areas. So this is a problem that we need to research more. So back to this topic. This tells us one thing, that AI-generated content is making its way into servers, academic research at an alarming rate. So yeah. Let's talk about this because we are into the post-plagiarism era, and Dr. Eaton developed a concept tree. I just regard it as concept trees that it can help us, can guide us to research, to know more about what happened in this era. So this is a very fantastic concept tree. So I hope that Dr. Eaton, can you introduce these slides? Yeah.
Yes, I'm happy to join for this part of the webinar. And actually, Dr. Peters had invited me to present on the topic of post-plagiarism. I think it was last year for the PUP community. So this would be sort of adding on and extending some of the ideas that were in the original framework. Maybe I won't go through each of the 6 tenets one by one today, but perhaps focus on one around the human hybrid AI writing, which I know members of our PUP community have written about in different ways. But connecting this to your work, Gengyan, and looking at the ways that this hybrid writing can be done in a way that is either signals quality in the end or a lack of quality. And I think what you have highlighted in your research is the idea of we can tell sometimes when AI tools have been used when the scholarship is sloppy and when the scholar does not review their own work or edit their own work or take the time even to proofread it. And then the sloppiness can be amplified if peer reviewers reviewing manuscripts do not catch this or editors do not catch this. So there are several points, it seems to me, along the publishing continuum where the sloppiness of scholarship can be identified and corrected if needed. But the fact that we found so many articles with these phrases, such as an AI language model, embedded into the article, signals not only sloppy scholarship on the part of the individual researcher, but a failure of the scholarly publishing system as a whole that's allowing so many publications to get through. And one of the tenets that I had proposed was that trying to determine where the human ends and where the artificial intelligence begins could be pointless. But in fact, you have shown through your research that it's not, because sometimes there can be these abrupt changes where the scholar or the researcher who is supposed to be trained in how to write and publish their work and mobilize knowledge from their work is supposed to know how to write articles. So there's a number of questions that linger for me with regards to what happens when researchers are either not trained adequately to produce high quality writing, or the systems in which we work fail to produce high quality scholarship. Of course, we don't know the motivations of the authors that you identified in your study, but certainly some signals around publish or perish, or the number of articles that one publishes is a signal of the quality. I think we can agree that that's probably not the case. So I would say in the cases that you've presented, actually, it's not really an example of hybrid writing, but almost a new form of like, using AI to substitute for one's own writing. So I think that there's some conceptual pieces that we can explore and tease out here with regards to post-plagiarism, but the way that you've looked at this through your work and connecting it to publish or perish phenomenon in scholarly publishing, and the pressures that scholars and researchers face to publish at any cost and its impact on overall quality are worth considering. And in terms of some of the things that Dr. Peters has talked about in her work around digital scrapbooking and the ways in which we can look at the use of sources, some of these sloppy indications could be overcome by a better use of digital tools and understanding how they can be used to improve the quality of the work. As professors, if a student submitted a paper to us with these phrases in it, we would probably lower the student's grade. And yet seeing these papers published not only in predatory journals, but also top quality journals can only lead us to ask what is happening through the whole process of scholarly publishing to compromise the quality. So maybe I'll leave it there. And one thing I also wanted to mention was that we have now this infographic translated into 6 languages, and Gengyan has translated it into Mandarin. The translations are posted on our website now, postplagiarism.com, and I'll put the link in the meeting chat in case you wish to download the infographic in another language. We also have it in French, translated by Elaine at the University of Ottawa. So Gengyan, with that, I will hand things back to you to continue with your research.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. And so under this framework, we can have how can we think about academic integrity or research integrity? So I think one thing is clear, our traditional ways of approaching academic work, whether it's research production, evaluation, or student assessment, are all involving. Let's break this down. Academic production is changing because in the past years, writing research papers and producing academic content was a full human-driven process. But today, AI tools are assisting authors, assisting researchers, helping generate text, summarize literature, and even propose research ideas. This question we now face is, where do we draw the ethical line? How much AI involvement is too much? And how we evaluate academic work is also shifting. Peer review has always been the gold standard for research quality. But what happens when reviewers can't always detect AI-generated content? Are journals equipped to handle the rise of AI-assisted research? Do we need new guidelines for what constitutes acceptable AI use in scholarly publishing? Student assessment is no longer the same because we can see every student, even international students, they use the AI tools to polish their words, to help them understand the different language books. So this is very different. With AI tools readily available, students can now use GenAI to draft essays, answer exam questions, or even generate research proposals. This forces us to rethink what we are actually assessing, we are actually evaluating. Are we grading students on their ability to recall information or on their critical thinking and originality? Should we shift towards AI literature assignments where students are taught to engage with AI responsibly rather than avoiding it altogether? At the core of all these changes is the simple but important reality that AI isn't going away. This way we write, publish, and we assess academic work has already changed, and it will continue to evolve. So instead of refusing this shift, the real changes is how do we adapt? How do we maintain integrity in a world where AI is part of this process? And one of the biggest shifts is post-plagiarism era is that human-machine collaboration in academic research is becoming the normal. This means that AI is no longer just an option tool. It's becoming a fundamental part of how research is conducted, analyzed, and even written. Let's think about this. Researchers are using AI for literature reviews, data analysis, and even text generation. Some scholars are even co-authoring papers with AI tools assisting the writing process. Universities and publishers are now discussing how to disclose AI's role in academic work. So instead of us asking, should we allow AI in research, the real question is, how do we integrate AI responsibility? Moving forward, moving forward, we need clear guidelines and ethical frameworks that help researchers or students collaborate with AI without compromising academic integrity. So another barriers in academia had always been language. I just read a paper that said the research has shown that non-native English speakers face significant challenges in publishing, networking, and advancing their academic careers. Many studies have highlighted this issue. English is the dominant language in academic publishing, making it harder for researchers for non-English speaking backgrounds to get published. Peer reviewers and journal editors sometimes penalize non-native speakers for language quality, even when their research is strong. The time and effort required to translation, proofreading, and rewriting put non-native English speakers at a productivity disadvantage compared to native speakers. But here's where Gen AI are challenging the game, because with AI-powered writing assistants, non-native speakers now have access to tools that help them refine their writings, improve clarity, and speed up the publication process. This means that the historical gap in academic community between native and non-native English speakers is beginning to narrow. Of course, this also raises new questions. One is, will AI create a more level playing field, or will it introduce new biases? Should AI-assisted writing be disclosed in publications? How can universities and publishers support ethical AI use while maintaining academic integrity? There are many critical issues we need to address as we move forward in the post-plagiarism era. As we move deeper into the post-plagiarism era, academic and research integrity are no longer simple. From my own perspective, it can be regarded as a complex network. This network can integrate multiple factors, stakeholders, and technologies. And there are many issues in these networks. And in this network, we can think about why AI isn't just a tool, it's shaping how knowledge is created, shared, and evaluated. Ethical concerns are no longer limited to plagiarism, but now involve AI-generated content, deepfake data, and manipulated citations and images. And universities, publishers, policymakers, and even AI developers must work together to address these challenges. In the new reality, we can't rely on simple rules to govern academic integrity anymore. And we need a policy that they consider. They can regard this network as complex network. And there is a picture that why research integrity is becoming a complex network problem, and how Gen AI is making it even more complex. At the center of this system, we have Gen AI. AI is the potential to support research, to support students' assignment, but it also interacts with existing integrity rules, making the problem much harder to control. Here how one is the paper mills. These services sell ready-made research or assignment for students and researchers, often with the fake data. Now with AI generating fake data and fake research is easier than ever. And another one is citation mills. AI can automate the creation of the meaningless citations to artificially boost impact metrics, further distorting academic evaluation. And another one is degree bills. In some countries, institutions have been found that faking university websites to deceive students into enrolling in non-existent or untrusted programs. Now, GenAI can help them to generate the fake websites and make it to become can be trusted. And this is very horrible for students because they can't identify whether website is true, whether it's fake. So the AI maybe can make these problems more serious. And another one is questionable journals. AI generates articles can easily found in the ways in low quantity journals, just like the predatory journals, and flooding the academia with unreliable content because we can see in many high quality database, there are many papers are fake paper, and researchers, even early career researchers, they don't have many experience to identify whether the paper is true or is fake. And they use the paper to as their fundamental paper to contact their future paper. And this will just like the pandemic problem. Yeah. And another one is questionable conferences. Some academic conferences already operate with minimal peer review. AI now allows for the mass production of papers that sound legitimate but lack quality because I just read a paper that said the academic conferences, they use the AI to do the peer review, but the AI can't review the paper because some papers are generated by the AI. So this is the problem. Can AI tools to detect the AI generated text? This is a problem for us. Can we use the AI tools to detect the text, the AI generated text? Yeah. The next one is now that we've seen how Gen AI is reshaping education and research integrity, the key question is what can we do about it? A lot of the discussion around AI in education has been about banning it. I think in University of Calgary, some instructors also ban it in the classroom. They don't allow the students to use AI, even to use AI to polish their papers. So this is a debate between the supporters of AI and somebody that they ban AI in their classroom. So, but the reality is Gen AI is like a flood. It's powerful. It's here to stay and it's reshaping the landscape of academia, whether we like it or not. So instead of ban AI, we should rethink about how to channel it, just like the engineers do when managing a river. This means guiding its use in ethical and responsible ways rather than pretending it doesn't exist. Teaching students and researchers how to critically engage with AI rather than leaving them to figure it out on their own. Develop policies and frameworks that balance innovation with academic integrity. In other words, the solution isn't about resisting the flood. It's about building smart channels to direct its flow. And when we talk about integrity in education, we often focus on teaching it. So policies, workshops, and academic integrity models. But integrity isn't just something you teach. It's something that needs to be nurtured over time. Think about it this way. We don't create ethical researchers, but just giving them a list of rules about plagiarism. We don't build a culture of integrity by simply enforcing strict punishments. Instead, we create a culture of integrity by modeling ethical behavior, encouraging open discussions, and fostering environments where uh, honesty and responsibility are valued. This is this is especially important in the post-plagiarism era, where AI-generated content challenges definitions of authorship and the academic integrity. So instead of just telling students what not to do, we need to first, I think, is engage them in the conversations about ethics in the AI era. And the second is encourage responsible use of AI rather than banning it outright. And the third is show them through mentorship or practice what academic integrity looks like in a world where AI is part of the process. So in so how do we approach Gen AI in education in a way that promotes integrity? Instead of banning it outright, we should also let students to practice it. So this is my own perspective, and this is my opinion. Uh, so this is all of the conversation, and this is the references of my research and my papers. Yeah. So now we can go into the Q&A section. So does everyone have their own questions?
Thank you, Gengyan, for your presentation.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. I really enjoyed it. And does anybody have any questions?
Actually, I have one to get us started, and I promise this wasn't a planted question. My question will take Gengyan by surprise. Gengyan, you had one slide with a conceptual framework. It was slide 21, multicolors on it in a circle. I wonder if you could go back to this slide for my question.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an original framework that Gengyan came up with. It's not published in our article. But my question for you, Gengyan, is as professors, how can we teach our students about this issue with regards to helping our students who will enter the publication world and knowledge mobilization world become more aware of paper mills, citation mills, degree mills, questionable journals, and questionable conferences? What can we do to help you?
This is a very good question because the paper mills or the questionable journals are the new problems in research integrity. So I also can find there is no any guidelines or knowledge about it in the university's guidelines or rules. So maybe we can develop or create a model, teaching model for the students, where we can incorporate this knowledge to our exist academic integrity model. That when the students they take part in this model, they can know more about this phenomenon, these problems. And the latter one, I think maybe we can incorporate these problems in the practice, because for the PhD students, the supervisors, they get their students to publish papers in academic journals. So in this process, I think the supervisors can taught this knowledge for their can teach this knowledge for their students, can tell them more about what is the bad apple, what is the bad practices in the research. And because I know many supervisors, they just introduce the good side for their students, but they also need to introduce the bad sides of the research to their students. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this, so I'm being very honest. But I'm curious to hear your opinion of this. in this era of Gen AI that is surrounding us, we want to promote a culture of academic integrity. I totally understand that. And I really liked your idea of nurturing this. But I'm wondering if we're going against the current, because I think we are entering what I call a culture of acceptance. We have a tendency to just accept that Gen AI is here to stay, and that we're just going to let go of it's not let go of our integrity, but let go of our norms, of our strict standards to accept. And I wrote down quite a few notes. This idea that sloppiness, lack of rigor is going to become more omnipresent in our students' work, but also in research work. And so I'm wondering what you think. How can we combat this acceptance of
Yeah,
lowering these standards?
yeah. Thank you for your question. I just, for my own perspective, because I come from China, and there are many research evaluation policies for the researchers. I think the evaluation or assessment is the most important factors that can impact the students and the researchers' behavior. So if we want to combat this, I think we need to change the evaluation of our research of the students' assessment. For the research and evaluation, we should change the culture, because we use the impact factors. We use many metrics for analyze the researchers' output. But this can create a very bad culture, because in China, many researchers, if they want to meet the standards of such research evaluation, they publish their papers in predator journals. They buy the paper mills services. So if we can change the culture, maybe it can impact their behavior, and it can guide them to focus on the quality of their research, not their quantity of their research. And the other one is for students assessment. When the instructor analyze the student's assessment, grade the student's assessment, they focus on the language quality, they focus on the students, whether they use the AI tools. But we should think, if we detect the AI tools using students' work, who can benefit in this process. And if the students break the academic integrity rules, we punish them. Who can benefit it? And I think the most important, we should um, assess the students' critical thinking. If they can use the AI tools to help them build the critical thinking, to build their skills, I think maybe it can combat our such phenomenon, because the students know how to use the AI correctly, and how to ethical use the AI tools. This is the most important.
Is there any other questions? Because I would have one more, because I can't resist, because I think this is so interesting. Anybody else have a question?
I do, but I'll let you go first.
Well, I'm curious, when you talk about the evaluation process, and I 100% agree, we shouldn't focus on quantity, we should focus on quality. Totally in agreement with that. But how can we change a system that is based on quantity, where all our rewards are based on the amount that we produce and not necessarily the quality? And this is a huge problem, and it's just it's not just for researchers, it's for our students also. They want the highest grade. They don't care what it takes to do it, and that's why we end up with cases of plagiarism and so on and so forth. But how do we change our system to récompenser, to give more merit to quality rather than quantity? It's a huge question, but let's see what you think about it.
Yeah, thank you for your question. This question is very interesting because there are many serious problems, academic integrity problems in China. So in the 2020, I think, yeah, in the 2020, and the Chinese government changed the evaluation policies. And if we want to apply the funding for research, we don't need to list all of our publications. We just can list 5 of our publications. This is we call the representative publication policies, because if you publish your papers in high quality journals, you can list only 1 publication in your CV, and it can help you to apply the fundings. But if you publish many papers in predatory journals, no one you can even list in your CV, but no one can recognize it. No one will recognize it, because they will analyze your paper, the quality of your paper, not the quantity of your paper. And another one, I think maybe we can, the University of Calgary, they signed the DORA policies. This is a statement, I think. Yeah, they don't use any the metrics to measure the researchers' impact, the researchers' papers, or other things. So this is a big step for the research community to evaluate the works. I think this is a very important step. And another one, I think the Canada funding apartment, they think that they apply the narrative CV for the researchers, and they encourage the researchers don't list all of their publications. They need to describe how they work, how they contribute to this field. I think this is the most important. Yeah.
And maybe I can add one thing there to amplify what Gengyan was mentioning about the new Tri-Council narrative CV, or maybe it's just Shirk. I just had to prepare one for a grant application. It was super difficult because it had a limited number of pages, and you had to describe the impact of your research rather than bean counting, if you will, of the number of publications. So the old Shirk CCV, which was just terrible to fill out, is being replaced with this new narrative CV. And if we cannot demonstrate the impact of our work, it might impact our ability to get grant funding. So this, I think, holds some promise in Canada. So yes, wanting to just amplify that point that Gengyan made.
Yes. Thank you for Martin's your question. I want to answer this question. The problem is that many researchers cannot recognize the quality of journals they want to publish in. Yeah, this is a very big problem, because when I talk with some researchers, they don't know which journals is high quality journals in their area. So, but for my own perspective, maybe academic integrity is a small area. So there is only a few journals that can publish the topic about research integrity or academic integrity. But for the big areas, maybe I think the most important is you can ask your colleagues, the professors. Maybe they can recommend some high quality journals for you. And the other one is we can use some standards to evaluate the journal, whether it's the high quality or low quality. The one most important is, I think, there is the research integrity policies or academic integrity policies in their instruction for authors. This is the standard for we can identify the journals is good or bad. And another factor is maybe we can use some metrics to, although this is another problem, but we can use it just like the impact factor. That may, I'm not sure the high impact factor means high quality, but sometimes in some areas it is, yeah.
Guofang, you want to ask your question?
Sure. I don't know if it's a question or just my personal thought. This is really a great study and presentation, and I really enjoyed it. It's right in the fits the purpose of the entire POP study in my thoughts. You know, the scrapbook we're talking about. It helped when I saw this title, and then I decided to sign up for it because in my own work. Looking at facing academic integrity and also AI, the AI age, I am looking for ways to help my student and myself. You know, I try to see if there are policies, guidelines, etc. I wonder if you, in your research, have you run into anyone published or I've been looking for examples of helping because when I was I'm preparing for a presentation as well. I was looking for AI use in education. And I used ChatGPT to generate a list. My own thinking is, oh, wow, this is very well organized, much better than I could, you know, for students, for instructors, for administrators and instructors, you can use 1, 2, 3 for this. So I probably only used maybe one from each of those. So what I did is one thing I could do is just to show this entire thing to my student and talk about it and use it included in my publication. But what I'm trying to do, what I did is I actually went into each one of the tools they recommended. It's new tools coming up every day. I wanted to present the newest, the most updated one. But what I had to go into each one of them. Some I have to pay. I couldn't try, so I took them out. In my mind, I only kept the ones that I can find and can practice and test. So I think this could be one way of using AI as a help, but still using my personal input in there, making it my own. But on the other hand, I'm thinking about what other ways people have talked about or presented up there. Are you aware of any other things? I'm hoping, you know, Martin, if we could, under our scrapbook, we can make a list of strategies that we can use.
I think you can propose a phase 2 project for the PUP on how to train. And you were talking about critical thinking, and that's what I was saying in my comment. We are all first generation users of GenAI, and we need to figure this out together, professors and students, because usually we're ahead of our students, but in this case, we're not.
No, yeah, we're talking about universities, institutions, and not generating policies. They're not ahead of us. They don't know more than we do.
Well, from my own perspective, I think we can regard the AI tools as the medium, just like the TV, just like a computer. And you can know that TV extend our eyes, and the phone, the earphone extend our ears, and the AI can extend our brains. So AI can help us to develop our critical thinking. We just use it. It just can be a part of our body. You can see it as a part of our body, and it can extend our brain. It can incorporate with our brain, and we do work with AI, and AI assists us, and just like the human AI assister, and this can help us to do work more effective. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that you can find the resources that AI uses. I wish AI would tell us where they get what they presented to us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you. This is a great
welcome.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gengyan and Sarah, for the very, very, I thought, extremely interesting presentation. And I plan certainly to go and read the 2 papers that you gave us the references to go and learn some more, because as I said, we are all first generations of users of AI, and we have to work together. And I think your presentation today demonstrated that we need to train ourselves and train our students and our graduate students included to better work in this post-plagiarism era. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to presentation. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody, for being present. And hopefully we can see you at our next webinar, which is advertised on our PUP website. So thank you very much.
Yeah.